Hi, everybody. I'm Asaf from David System. I'm here again with Dave from David. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, another day, another dollar. That's how we say it. So let's start with the story so far. The last time we talked to you guys, we were on the verge of planning different stuff and going to different events, and you were traveling a lot. Dave, do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, we had first the customer conference in early March, and then in late March we had radio days, and that was in Lausanne, and then we went off to Vegas for NAB. So I've been doing a lot of traveling, and we'd had a lot of events and a lot of things going on. So we usually take a little bit of a break in terms of our communications on what's coming out over time. So all of those events were very, very successful. We maintained the messaging with our tentpoles. We're concentrating on efficiency, flexibility, ubiquity, and how does data flow through all of those
The tentpoles.
areas. Those were what the tentpoles all represented. And we talked to people about how we're concentrating on both foundation, your infrastructure and your ecosystem, but also adding an area of flexibility on top of that. So we'll be able to talk a little bit about that, I think.
Yeah, that's actually brings us to our next point about our release, which from a content perspective, we also want to tie up to IBC, that there is a lot of things that are coming this release, but there are also some things that will be coming later down the line.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need to tie it right back to IBC.
Okay.
In terms of those areas, it's more of I think there's items coming out in the release that are, as we like to say in the listening and action shows, super cool. And then there are other items coming off in the summer and into the fall.
No, that is great stuff. And
yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah, that is
my parents my parents think this should be a daily thing. They're all very excited. They know much more about enterprise software and David and what's going on.
We're doing a good job.
They're always very excited about what's going on, and I don't even tell them. They just find it.
So release 2019.1.0.
So the big items, really one of the, we're calling the newsletter the trigger effect, is the implementations of workflow triggers with DBM 5.2.
And those triggers are in two different, there's trigger 1 and there's trigger 2.
Well, I think there's actually probably even more, but I mean the ones we're concentrating on, and you'll probably be able to talk to Jürgen and
Jürgen Hintermann.
And Team Galileo, and they'll be able to provide more depth on this. But the two ones that we're emphasizing just in the newsletter are the smart publishing, which will allow you a productive way to publish to social media, and a loudness trigger.
Oh,
so those are two big things coming out of DBM. There's also this element of what I call metadata origins.
Oh,
because I think that the name sounds pretty cool, but it's a genealogy. It's a genealogy functionality now within Digus. And again, Jürgen could probably go much better and more in depth there.
which, if I'm not mistaken, that's a metadata thing. It's a genealogy thing. So it's the family tree of the of your content. That's how I think about it. I think from a genealogy, because genealogy is a term that's understood at a family level, obviously, and also genealogy is a term. Family is important.
No, but it's in a term of how to metadata and the source of metadata. So it's something that's very, very important. It's a huge category. So this is a small bit where we've been effective and that we've been able to solve. So when people say genealogy, it's like, there's so much. And so it's for us, how can we take what we think are the really important pieces there and start applying that?
There are still some things in the release that we should address. The workflow editor, for one.
Yeah.
I would say. The workflow.
You said it, the workflow editor. That's a workflow editor. And we just had a company in doing a workshop, I was going to say last week, but it was this week. And that went really, really well. And
That's
we
great.
expect to have more workshops on how to use it. Again, I think you'll be able to go into more depth with this with Jürgen.
Definitely. That's all we have for the release, but there is a lot of things coming up after the release in that time period, and like to call it teasers, and we're going to be doing some more video content about that, but let's talk about it in a brief.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things is Road.
Road
And that's
is
where I was talking more about this kind of flexibility option. So it allows our customers a tremendous amount of flexibility. The key there is that Road. I'm just gonna read what I wrote. What we wrote. Road is the ultimate audio backend as a service for audio processing, accessible via an API, controlled in real time, and open for integration. So that's kind of what Road is, and the big thing is that we're going to be doing use cases for studio recording and 24/7 recording.
That sounds like it's a very big thing.
And I know Bjorn is so excited, super excited to be giving more information about this.
Definitely.
Either in video or podcast. I mean, he can barely contain himself. So, Bjorn and Team Touring have been working really hard on this, and they actually are very excited about it. I kind of said that in a joking way.
That's
but they
true.
are it's super cool.
It is cool. It is
Yeah.
cool. It's one of the big things that are coming up, and
Yeah.
we're very proud of, definitely. Now, there are, of course, stuff coming from Alex's side.
So yeah, what they've been working on, Alex has been working on with Team Gauss. We haven't quite named it correctly, but it's basically a scheduler for distribution endpoints. Okay. So distribution endpoint, easy for me to say, could be a smart speaker, it could be social media, it could be anything. Right now, the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, other elements will be available probably first, but it could be working for smart speakers or anything. It's basically scheduling your atomized content.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's really awesome within WebDigger range. And again, Alex will be able to provide more information in that area.
Right. That is bus?
No, that was the self-driving bus is within the Windows service.
Right.
Again, more details with her. And there's also, we're working on DPE 2.0.
Oh.
And one of the areas that we're working on is state-of-the-art authentication.
State-of-the-art authentication?
Yeah, so...
That sounds big.
Which sounds state-of-the-art.
Yeah, which is good.
Right, yeah. Within, well, you said we haven't decided the other one, the scheduler, we haven't decided, do we call it rundown scheduler atomization or distribution endpoints? But the whole idea is that you're able to schedule you're able to schedule for these endpoints.
Which comes back to our points in the beginning of flexibility and foundation.
Even more so. I mean, this is everything. It's going to be more efficient to be able to schedule to schedule, and it's ubiquitous because it'll be within WebDigger range.
Oh, that is great stuff. And there's a lot of stuff. You will hear.
It's great stuff,
it's
and
great
it's
stuff.
super cool.
It's super cool, and you'll hear a lot about that in the coming months through videos. Or definitely, you should, if any of these things strike a chord, definitely contact Alexander Bauer, Jürgen Hildebrand, or Björn Lamla. Their emails will be on the screen. You should definitely do that if anything strikes a chord, and definitely to get more information about that.
Except if you're my parents. My parents shouldn't be contacting anybody
probably,
other than me.
Probably should be contacting Dave. There's another thing that we haven't talked about is the customer care
It's
desk.
the gossip at the customer care desk, which actually we haven't changed yet. And basically, there we're saying there's no longer a beta in terms of the customer care desk and the transfer portals. And the customer care desk has now streamlined the workflow for the ticket system.
Oh.
So there's easier access. You constantly know where your status is within your case, and there's a request channel in there as well.
Well, everybody, that's all we've got for today. And you can read all about it in the newsletter that is also coming with this show together. So everybody, thanks for listening or seeing us in the Listening in Action show. The release will be coming next week, like we said. And until then, David Systems. Listening in Action. Ciao, guys.